ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another episode of the CD Racoola Show. Today we have a special little treat for you as we review the 2017 film, It. Before we go any further down the dirty, dark, clown-infested sewer that is this review, make sure you subscribe to the CD Racoola Show so as not to miss anything from your boy. This movie is of course based on the same novel written by the master of horror and one of my personal goats, Stephen King. The thing about Stephen King novels that have later been made into movies or television, if you have read the novel before the film, it almost ruins the film, dare I say. Because as I've told you before, the book is always better than the film. I mean, your imagination will always take you to your own darkest place. And let's be honest, some of you guys out there on the internet can go real dark. You guys go to the darkest of the dark. That being said, I think that they did a heck of a job on this film in recreating the loser club as seen here, and the fictional town of Derry, Maine as well, of course. Then of course we have Pennywise the dancing clown. We'll get to Pennywise here in a second, so have a little bit of patience. Let's chat for a sec where this film is set. As I stated before, the fictional town of Derry. Derry, Maine is the setting in many Stephen King novels, but it is also referred to and talked about in quite a few of his works, even if the characters of this novel aren't directly set in Derry. It's just a real scary place, Derry is apparently, and here are just a few of my personal favorites, besides It, of course, that are either set in Derry or talk about Derry, sometime during the course of the novel, of course. Most of these have been also turned into film and television as well, so if you're a fan of these works, give them a read, or, at the very least, give them a watch. Secret Windows, Secret Garden, that had Johnny Depp in it, the movie. 11, 2263, Pet Cemetery, Storm of the Century, Misery, Needful Things, The Night Flyer, and of course, It Chapter 2. These are just a few of my personal favorites. He has loads more that I just am too lazy to list, my dearies. I really do need to do a review of Pet Cemetery. That was a fiesta, if I do say so myself. And I've done episodes looking at Needful Things and Storm of the Century, so check those out if you have the time. Okay, you guys are sitting over there in YouTube land and waiting patiently for me to talk about Pennywise. Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. I love making you wait. Oh, so fun. I want to chat first about the director of this film. Andres Muschietti is, I believe, how you pronounce it. Pronounce his last name, rather. But if you look at the spelling, it kind of sounds like machete. What an awesome name for a horror director that would be. Somewhere Danny Trejo is smiling at that pronunciation. Machete. That's Mr. Machete himself, Danny Trejo. Muschietti also directed It Chapter 2, as well as the film Mama. I also need to stop being such a lazy, blood-sucking old vampy and review Mama as well. Also in this film is the Losers Club, and in that club we have the young character, Richie Tozier, whom is played by none other than Finn Wolfhard. Listen to that name, Finn Wolfhard. Do you think that might be a stage name? If you recognize Finn from something, it may be that you recognize him from the Netflix hit series Stranger Things. Duh! It's funny seeing him here in this film. It got me to thinking that the Losers Club is very similar to the motley crew that is in Stranger Things. Kind of social outcasts that all band together to fight monsters or whatever, you know. It's eerily similar, even set in the 80s, mind you. I did a review of Stranger Things Season 4, if you're bored and want to give that a quick watch. Oh, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with it, this Chapter 1 film is set in the 80s when the kids are young, and It Chapter 2 is set 27 years later when the monster known only as Pennywise, the dancing clown, comes back to feed. Okay, so this is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to talk about the monster, the bad boy, the clown prince of horror. That would scare even the likes of Stitches and the Terrifier. It's time to talk about Pennywise. Pennywise was portrayed by Bill Skarsgård. And I'll be honest, I really wanted to hate on Bill Skarsgård before I saw the film, because I love the portrayal of Pennywise by Tim Curry, and I wanted Tim to be the goat of Pennywise in this. Tim was in the TV miniseries. But I actually think Skarsgård may have out-Pennywise Curry in this film. Is out-Pennywise a word? I don't know. Whatever. It is now. So let me ask you guys out there, who do you think was the better Pennywise, the dancing clown? Bill Skarsgård in this It film, or Tim Curry in the 1990 miniseries It? Either way, they both portrayed the character beautifully, I have to admit that. I just think Skarsgård's portrayal was a little more horrific, and Curry's was a little more of Barney the purple dinosaur in nightmare clown form, you know. When I think of this film and scenes that scare my 300-year-old stanky loafers directly off my feet, you know what scene is the scariest? And you may call me a basic vampy for this, but the scene that kicks this film off right, with Pennywise looking up at poor Georgie boy from underneath the sewer. Just so creepy to see Pennywise down in the gutter. And I think the fact that you kind of know what's coming if you're familiar with the franchise makes it even worse. Like, you know old Georgie boy is going to get taken by the monstrous killer clown, so it just fills you with all kinds of anxiety and dread, that's for sure. So many scenes in this film that were just plain old horrifying, and did nothing to sway my opinion that It is one of the scariest films of all time. And Pennywise is a horror icon and one of my favorite movie monsters. This film was nothing but a scary ride from start to finish, and I like the second film, aptly named It Chapter 2. So, as much, if not more than this film, Chapter 2, I liked. I have no choice but to give this film some of the highest scores possible on my scarometer, because it's just so good and so darn scary. Not as scary as my top film, The Exorcist, that I recently did a review of, but it gets pretty darn close, that's for sure, pretty darn close. So make sure you watch this film with the lights off, and if you're really brave, watch both It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 by yourself. I need to review It Chapter 2 as well, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, you know. I would like to take the time now to thank you for joining me here on this episode of the CD Racoola Show, and if you could subscribe to the show and maybe thumbs up this video, I would give you a big red balloon! Can you believe that a red balloon and clowns could be so scary? Leave it up to Stephen King to ruin balloons and clowns for us. Thanks a lot, Stephen. Thanks a lot. Please join me next episode of the show when I review the film Bird Box. Oh, that film was very unique. It should be a good episode of the show, methinks. Till next time, my little human blood smoothies. Some of you are under the impression that the boogeyman isn't real, or the boogerman, whatever you want to call him, and that there's nothing under your bed, nothing in your closet, nothing hiding under your stairs in the basement, nothing scratching around in your attic, and nothing lying in wait in your sewer, ready to drag you down into the darkness. But let me leave you with a little thought, and you can believe whatever you want, but I will tell you this. We all float down here, and someday you will too. Bye-bye for now.